Here's here of the RCWR show, coming at you for Saturday night of November 23rd, 2019. What is going on, guys? We are here talking about the WOW Women of Wrestling November 23rd, 2019 Season 2 review. This has got to be the first time in show history that we have faithfully covered a television show, and in this case, a wrestling product that has been giving it to us non-stop. I mean, we've pretty much been on this since season 1, right? Couple of episodes here and there we did for season 1, but season 2, I have faithfully covered every single episode with joy, with such great excitement, and everything culminated tonight, the season 2 finale. I'm just left here at the edge of my seat wanting so much more. I'm disappointed that I've got to now wait, like many of you guys that enjoy the WOW product, we got to now wait until 2020 to see all the stuff that had transpired in this 2-hour block. Now, for those of you that like to set your DVRs, I do hope you had set them correctly, because you had got not one but 2 episodes of WOW Women of Wrestling tonight, and I actually had to double check and make sure that I was definitely set over here at my end, and I definitely was. But I was kind of curious how they were going to be breaking down these 2 episodes in a 2-hour time frame. I was wondering if it was just going to be one continuous event, kind of like a little mini pay-per-view, so to speak, or if they were just going to break it down in 2 episodes. And in fact, they did break it down in 2 episodes. So the first episode that we had pretty much had tackled crowning new tag champions, whereas the season 2 finale, the second episode that we got tonight, basically saw Tessa Blanchard taking on Beast for the WOW Championship. Now, look, I gotta be very candid with you. If I have only one little piece of criticism, and it actually has nothing to do with the good people over at WOW. It does not actually. It has to do with the people that are in charge of programming the shows at Access TV, which is, I really wish that tonight's WOW would have gotten its own respected time in the sun to really shine, because as we all know, WWE NXT Survivor Series is this weekend, and depending on what's happening right about now, WWE NXT War Games is still ongoing. I know it came on at 7 p.m. For all I know, maybe it ended already. I don't know. We're not going to give you guys any spoilers for that, because as far as talking about NXT War Games, I'm actually going to be talking about that exclusively for our Patreon members. We've actually been talking, to my credit, for the past couple of months now, anything that has to do with TakeOver or special things related to TakeOver, we pretty much cover it on Patreon. I know we usually review the weekly NXT shows for you guys along with AEW, but the TakeOver shows we usually talk about on Patreon. WOW, it's just its own entity. That's all we talk about is WOW Women of Wrestling. But I really wish WOW would have gotten its own time to shine tonight, because I really felt that this 2-hour block that they did was phenomenal. It was that deserving of just having its own time period. That's it. As far as wrestling goes, these are the guys you're going to tonight. You don't have to worry about anybody else. You don't have to worry about any competition or anything like that. Now, I had an option. I could have either watched the first hour of War Games, and then when the first hour of WOW came on, juggle both of them and everything. But I didn't want to do that. I love Saturdays in particular. I love dedicating my time to just solely watching Women of Wrestling and then pretty much go from there. And yeah, I wish that the people at Access TV would have picked any other time to air WOW other than this weekend. And it's so weird, because when you go back and think about it, for those of you that have been watching at least a good majority of the episodes of Women of Wrestling this season, you guys remember there was that one week for the Saturday Slam, as Access TV dubs it, of New Japan Pro Wrestling and WOW. There was one week where we didn't get anything from those guys, and I think it had something to do with some type of a special live concert that was running that weekend, that was airing on Access TV in the wrestling content's place. And some of us were kind of scratching our heads like, and now when you kind of look back on it and everything, you're going, damn, if there was ever a weekend to take off, this should have been the weekend, since WWE is doing this thing and everything, right? And I don't know, it's just one of those things where you kind of look at it in retrospect, you can't help but go, well, why didn't we just go on ahead and hold off until next week? And the only thing that kind of makes sense is, well, nah, I don't really want to go into December. Just go ahead and wrap it up during November. I mean, after all, there is such thing as November sweeps, February sweeps, and then you've got your May, June sweeps basically for your season finales usually or whatever. So, but other than that, just kind of putting that to the side, man, I'm in hog heaven right now. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about this, man. All right. So during the first hour, and take your pick, there was a lot of cool stuff that we had got from overall tonight's 2-hour finale, but we'll kick it off. We'll talk about that first hour. Your first hour had consisted of 3 matches. You heard me right. 3 matches, where the main event match of the night, which saw Havoc, Hazard, the Monsters of Madness, taking on Fire and Adrenaline to crown new WOW Women Tag Team Champions. And that main event match had got a decent amount of story time. Definitely had enjoyed that. But kicking it up at the very top, we had Mesmeriah, Razor, Fury, all 3 girls known as the Psycho Sisters. They were in action. It was a 6-woman tag team matchup, as Psycho Sisters had faced Keita Rush, Sassy Massey, and Chantilly. Chantilly was also in there as well. And so basically, the way this was set up, it was basically the Psycho Sisters issuing a challenge. And word got back to Chantilly, Keita, and Sassy. They accepted. Pretty much, that's how this match got set up and everything. So we go to that match. That was actually a pretty good opener. I really gotta tell you guys, I enjoyed the trio of Chantilly, Keita, and Sassy. I think we might be on to something right there with the 3 of those women. They all seem to click very, very well with each other. I loved it. I loved it tremendously. And right down to the point, I couldn't help but say to myself, going into the next season, if you wanted to, when you really stop and you look at Keita Rush's character, for example, it seems like every single time Keita Rush has been aligned with Steffi Slays, they've always been at the receiving end of a defeat, right? Now, you could make the argument that with regards to this matchup that went down, because the Psycho Sisters did pick up the W, but you want to talk about looking very promising and everything, of a new team, forming a new alliance and everything like that. You could just say from a storyline standpoint that it kind of seems like on paper, Keita Rush being aligned with Sassy and Chantilly may be more beneficial to her for her career, depending on where exactly she sees herself going. Is it in a tag team division? Is she trying to go for the tag belts? Or is she maybe interested in pursuing a singles run? And it'd be kind of nice to have some backup. You could kind of, but then you could also say, well, nah, maybe we could be optimistic. Maybe things for Keita Rush will kind of pick up a little bit going into the 3rd season on Access. You just never know. But I still kind of feel that as far as a little bit of dissension there between Keita Rush and Steffi Slays, I still like toying around with that idea and everything. But Mesmeriah, Razor, Fury picking up the win over Chantilly, Keita Rush, and Sassy Massey. This was all about the game of isolation. That's what the story was all about. And Psycho Sisters did a really good job homing in on Keita for about majority of the match, but Keita Rush actually had split it also with Chantilly. I mean, both of those girls were just getting the tar kicked out of them. I mean, it was almost kind of shared around equally for the faces there, but more so on Chantilly and Keita. They were taking the big brute of it and everything. And closing moments of that one, pretty much Razor
coming in with a short arm clothesline on Kita, pretty much setting everything up. It was a numbers game, just pretty much isolation, separating Kita from her tag mates so they could get in the hot tag, try to go in for the rescue and everything. Nah, all about the isolation. So they were able to pick up on the scraps of Kita Rush, picking up the W. Now, they had a pretty powerful message to send to the participants in that Wild Tag Team Championship match for later on in the night, which was those tag titles, yeah, those are ours. You know, we don't care who wins that. We're still coming for them. We will be Women of Wrestling Tag Team Champions. Like, bank on it, right? So, letting their voices heard perfectly clear. So, you already know. And honestly, when you take a step back and you think about how everything had began here with Mesmeriah being incorporated with the Psycho Sisters, remember the little bit of a promo. It was a pre-produced promo that Razor had gave, which was basically with Mesmeriah on our side and everything, those tag team titles, it's going to be coming to us guaranteed, no problem. So Razor setting the tone early on when Mesmeriah was recruited. Hey, Mesmeriah is very tough. I see a lot of myself. I see a lot of fury in Mesmeriah. So yeah, she would be not only a great addition to our stable and everything, but as far as going for the tag titles, yeah, that is like our ace in the hole. We're definitely going to lock that bad boy. So, you know, when you think back to earlier this season, you got that consistency there, and I got to give the writers and the bookers a lot of credit for the way they had bridged that gap there. So that was awesome how that pretty much was set up. Our second matchup of the night, by the way, and you know what was really cool about watching the 2-hour block of Wild tonight, by the way, for the first time, really, since I have been watching this season, right? I watched it last season and everything, but this actually ties into my woman. And I'm curious for you fellas out there, whether it's with your own woman or maybe it's with your daughter, right? Or your niece or what have you. I'm curious how it is for your household and everything. Well, for me and my household, my woman looked gingerly here and there first season of WoW, looked at a few episodes. Oh, yay, she jumps out at me. Oh, she's kind of... And this season, my girl hasn't really been able to really sit down and watch Women of Wrestling. And I remember I had a conversation with her not that long ago. I said, I'm surprised you're not really into this a lot more because this kind of seems like it would be more up your alley. And she was like, well, it's okay. It's just usually I'm always doing other stuff, so I really don't have a opportunity to sit down and watch it with you is all. I was like, oh, okay. And then finally, we're in a position this weekend. We actually did some early Thanksgiving shopping. It's better to get the Thanksgiving shopping out of the way before last freaking minute, right? And I hear the lines are pretty ridiculous. So if you guys are going to be going out there for your Thanksgiving shopping, have some patience out there, especially on the roads, right? No reason to be a knucklehead this holiday season. But she sat down and watched the 2-hour block with me, and she was, oh, hey, she's really cool. What's her name? And I was like, oh, that's so-and-so. Yeah, what's her story? She felt more invested this go around now that she was finally able to sit down and actually really watch the product and everything. And I would like to believe that one of her favorites right now is actually Princess Aussie. And I remember when we were watching her, and Princess Aussie was during the second hour, which we'll get to, but when Princess Aussie was in action, my girl said, you know who she reminds me of? I said, who? She reminds me a lot of, what's the Southern girl in WWE? I said, oh, Lacey Evans. Yeah, I see a little bit of that in her, and I see a little bit of Charlotte Flair in her as well. She seems like you gotta watch her. She seems like she's gonna be going places. I said, oh yeah, it's like she's definitely one of my favorites. And we both agreed that if she could maybe put on just a tiny little bit more bulk, and when I say bulk, I don't want people thinking, oh, she's got to be muscular like the Beast or anything like that. No, I think a good example would be Holliday. If she could maybe put on that type of mass, I think that would really help her out even more and everything. But I mean, look, if she doesn't put on that extra bulk as she is, she's perfectly fine. But to my girl's point, yeah, as far as, hey, yeah, this girl seems like she's really going places. Yeah, Princess Aussie was somebody that really jumped out at her. Of course, Tessa Blanchard. She's very familiar with Tessa Blanchard and everything, familiar with Havoc, but Aussie was somebody kind of refreshing, kind of new that really jumped out at her the most. Second match during our first hour, we saw Reina Reyes. She had took on the Disciplinarian. Love this matchup. Love this matchup. Now, remember the video package that we had got a couple of weeks ago where Reina Reyes was talking about how she no longer wanted to feel as though she had to be ashamed of being a pro wrestler and everything, because she pretty much had talked about why she was wearing the mask and all that, right? And ever since she had took off the mask and basically was reborn, Princess of the Philippines, Reina Reyes, you're like, wow, so what's happened with her parents? What's happened with her family? Were they accepting of this? Like, what's going on? If that was kind of like in the back of your mind, here, once again, the consistency in telling the story here, right? Just in case you forgot from several weeks ago, right? Because this was essentially a long season, right? But you go, wait a minute here, a little consistency. Leave it to David McLean and Steve Dickey to remind us about what happened there with the family, and we get a new update basically saying the family had saw that touching video package about Reyes and they were accepting. They said, okay, well, look, if this is what you want to do, you've got our full support. Go out there and, hey, look, we love what you're doing and keep on doing it. We just want you to be happy, right? So talk about a weight lifted off her shoulders and everything, right? Kind of like a new lease on life, so to speak. Having this match against Disciplinarian, enjoyed this matchup. This was, for me, for your first hour, as far as technical matches go, this was your match. Aside from when I combine both hours, this match jumps out to me the most as, for me, number one, because it was very technical, right? Seemed to edge out Beast and Tessa Blanchard for the Wild Championship as far as length of match time goes, right? But for me, I have that match as number one. My number two would definitely go to the Tag Team Championship match. And then my number three would definitely go to the Tessa Blanchard Beast match. Yeah, that's the order that I would do it for the whole 2 hours, okay? But yeah, Reina Reyes, Disciplinarian, this was a solid technical matchup. Closing moments of this one, Samantha Smart coming into play here for her client here, or her partner in the Disciplinarian. We see at one point the Disciplinarian tries to grab a ruler, and she just decides, the hell with this. Like, I'm tired of this girl. I'm just going to freaking end this match already. So she's getting ready to take that ruler to the head, right? She's getting ready to take that bad boy to the dome of Reina Reyes. And the referee jumps in there, is grabbing on it, and finally yanks it away from her and everything. And as he's distracted, taking that ruler outside on the opposite end, Samantha Smart, she comes in there. She has her own ruler stick, and we see Princess, I like calling her, but I know it's Reina Reyes now. Reina gets tangled up with the Disciplinarian. And the way Disciplinarian and Reina Reyes get tangled up and everything, you have Disciplinarian behind Reina Reyes, sees what Samantha Smart is trying to do, and takes her on over to Samantha Smart so she can get cracked over the head and everything. And Reina Reyes actually was able to move away in time as that ruler broke over the head of the Disciplinarian. Disciplinarian is knocked out cold. Knocked out cold, baby. And 1, 2, 3, Reina Reyes picks up the spoils. And so you look at, and by the way, before all that even went down too, right? There's one thing before Reina Reyes went in for the cover and all that, right? Because it wasn't just as clear cut as that. Let's really make sure we set this up properly. So the referee does not see when Samantha Smart cracks her own buddy there in the Disciplinarian. Disciplinarian is out cold. You got Reina Reyes, she sees what's going on here. And she has a few words with Samantha Smart outside of the apron and everything. And Samantha Smart, she's outside the apron. She's still down on the floor and everything on that surface. But we see Reina Reyes, she's outside of the ring, top of the apron, does a nice, good side kick to the face of Samantha Smart. Kicks the living hell out of Samantha Smart. How hard was that kick? Two things for me personally. One, kicked her so damn hard, the glasses went flying off of Samantha Smart's face. And then the second part, knocked the homegirl out so bad. I think homegirl's gonna be sleeping through Thanksgiving this year. Might even be sleeping through Christmas. I mean, my God, that kick was just... I mean, that felt like some sweet chin music type of stuff, man. That was just hilarious. And then Reina Reyes, she goes up to the top turnbuckle after doing that kick to Samantha Smart and everything, does the sky twister on the disciplinarian. 1, 2, 3, picks up the W. So now you're kind of left wondering, because we never did get a follow-up on disciplinarian and Samantha Smart. Now you can't help but wonder, okay, so with what we've been seeing between Smart and disciplinarian this season, essentially they haven't been able to really get on the same page. This relationship that they've had really has not been fruitful and really has not been... It has not been dispensing great rewards, this alliance. What's going to happen now? So as you get ready to go into the third season, you can't help but wonder exactly, okay, so what's going to happen here, right? You know, what's going to happen here exactly? But that's where things had left off with all of those participants. Main event match of the night for our first hour of Wild Women of Wrestling. We saw Fire, Adrenaline in action against the Monsters of Madness, Havoc and Hazard. Oh my God, great matchup. And once again, kind of got to pat myself on the shoulders here, man. I said, as far as who was going to be coming out of this to go into the finals, I said it was either going to be Grits and Glam or it was going to be Adrenaline and Fire. Those were the two teams. I kept telling you guys, eyeball them. These are the ones. And I even told you guys, with regards to Grits and Glams, Amber O'Neal and Jesse Jones, hey, I was being biased there, right? A little bit of favoritism, right? I've been looking at their... I don't know if you guys are following them on Twitter, but they've got a 5-picture deal for $25 that's going on right now during this whole holiday season. I don't know if it's basically going to expire this weekend or if it's going to ride on out until not Cyber Monday. What is it? Black Friday? Whatever it's called. You know, the after Thanksgiving sale. That's what I usually freaking call it. I don't know if it's going to be extending that long and everything, but I'm looking at those pictures going, hey, you know, that would look pretty good on my wall here, man. Like, yeah, you know, let me represent a little bit, right? But yeah, we had that matchup for the Wild Tag Championships. It's actually a good matchup. Great matchup. Enjoyed the story here. Havoc, Hazard dominating for the first part of this match. I mean, it really felt as though Havoc and Hazard were going to steamroll through these girls. It really did come off like that. But the longer that this match went and you're seeing Havoc and Hazard on the offense, you're going, nah, this kind of feels like it's not as one-sided as we think. There's going to be some offense here kicking in and everything. And I tell you what, even though with regards to in the universe of WoW, we haven't seen Fire and Adrenaline as a tag team that long, the chemistry between the two of them, they flow so well together. I tell you, their alliance, and you know, not for nothing, Hazard and Havoc as well. It's another really good damn alliance there as well, you know. But yeah, you know, just when we thought it was basically one-sided here, the girls in Fire and Adrenaline picking up a little bit of offense, you know, using their size, using their speed to their advantage and everything. Great back and forth overall. Great back and forth. Closing moments of this one, we see Fire get clotheslined by Havoc. Works on her a little bit. Eventually tags in Hazard. Hazard goes to work on Fire for a little bit. We see a critical moment where Hazard decides she's going to charge into Fire as Fire is in the corner. And, oh man, you want to talk about a miscalculation, because Fire was basically able to use Hazard's momentum and turn it into a sunset flip. And you want to talk about a shocking upset where it looked as though this is over. Like Monsters of Madness, they definitely got this. Fire, adrenaline coming out on top. 1, 2, 3, your new WoW tag team champions. But the tag champions would not be able to celebrate that long, sadly, as they had got attacked by some unknown assailants. We see some women go into the ring here, and they're attacking the tag champions, and you got Steve Dickey, you got David McClain wondering who the heck are these women, and they're wearing these white t-shirts that says Exile, and the way Exile is written, it kind of looks as though somebody had took a Sharpie or something and basically wrote it over and everything. And one of the women that was acknowledged, for those of you that know your wrestlers and everything, got to give it up to her because she is an in-ring veteran. I've seen a little bit of her work off and on over the years. Malia Hozoka. Remember at one point she had a little bit of something to do with WoW and everything in the earlier years prior to them doing their thing on Access TV and everything. She was with the Ladies Professional Wrestling Alliance. She did a little something in Shimmer, was actually involved in TNA for a hot little minute there, but in-ring veteran. She's been all over, right? She's been all over. Made her in-ring wrestling debut late 80s, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely somebody I've been familiar with off and on over the years, but not to the point I can say she's an expert, but I could definitely say, oh, that's somebody, if you don't know about them, yeah, take a free moment, go on Daily Motion or YouTube and look up their shit. They are good. And, we see Malia Hozoka. She comes in here and, I mean, she's just directing traffic with these two other women who we don't know. We never hear their names and they're never introduced to us, but they are beating the crap out of Fire and Adrenaline. Kicked the living crap out of them, kicked them out of the ring like they were yesterday's trash. That's how bad these girls got their tails whooped and everything. And Malia Hozoka grabs a microphone afterwards, talks about how she was involved in Wild Women of Wrestling years prior and how because of certain actions, she was basically exiled from the promotion and everything. And she took shot at the up-and-coming generation of female wrestlers, bashing them for, oh, they're getting what's coming to them because they are a second or a third generation and, who they know and all this other stuff. And she basically said, hey, none of that had applied to me. I was able to do everything I was able to do through hard work, dedication, no favors whatsoever, not because of no bloodline, all this other stuff. So, it was a really great, passionate promo. I would definitely say to you guys, go out of your way and definitely look up this particular segment. I'm hoping that the people over at WoW will have this segment be available, if not on their YouTube channel or maybe through Access TV on YouTube, at least maybe have it uploaded on the WOWE website. And it was a great freaking promo. Like, you're looking at this woman and, at first you're going, who is this more mature lady that's standing here directing traffic, beating all these people down? And then when she grabs the microphone and she starts talking, you're going, ooh, homegirl got some chops. Like, actually, no, we kind of, we need this person in WoW right now. Yeah, we need them to help elevate the younger talents. Yeah, come on, tell us some more, give us some more and everything. So basically, after this great passionate promo, this was essentially about her extracting revenge on what all went down during her last tenure in WoW and everything. So she's pretty much put all the women on notice, right? And again, this alliance is a trio. It is Exile. So I would imagine that in season 3, obviously, we're going to learn a lot more about Exile. Particularly, we're going to learn a lot more about, and one thing that she did say, as far as describing the two other women that were with her, she did refer to them as her trainees. Okay, so again, we're going to learn a lot more about them in the coming weeks. But yeah, pretty much the entire WoW roster has been put on notice here. So that pretty much was the end of season 1. So again, 3 matches. I didn't miss anything. There was 3 matches, with the main event match, the tag team championship match being the longest, getting the most story time in there and everything. So, hey man, you know that when things pick up in 2020 with the new season of WoW, I mean, just following the storyline here, you know that Adrenaline and Fire, they want to try to extract some type of revenge on what Exile had did to them, right? But they are at a little bit of a disadvantage here because it's essentially 3-on-2. So who else is maybe going to partner up with Adrenaline and Fire to balance out the odds and take the fight to Exile? Just going over the entire roster right now, I mean, it just really depends exactly on where you want to go. Do you maybe fight veteran with veteran and you essentially have Jungle Girl slide in there, right? I mean, that would be a nice little bit of a mix, I personally feel, right? And then, I mean, man, just on freaking paper, to see Malia Hozoka taking on Jungle Girl, 2 in-ring veterans for some decades, shoot, sign me up for that. I definitely wouldn't mind seeing that. So that's one direction you can go, and I'm actually leaning a lot more towards that direction. I really like that direction. If you ask me who would be another good runner-up, if maybe there's 2 more people I could probably think of, I'm really thinking about who's like free right now and who's maybe not at this time going for a championship, tag titles, or the WoW tag champion. I'm sorry, WoW tag championship or the WoW heavyweight championship is what I was trying to say. And Jungle Girl off the break. Trying to think who else you could maybe slide in there. I don't know, guys. Well, maybe you go in with Selena Majors. That's another in-ring veteran there, and she can still throw it down, push come to shove. So, you know, do you maybe slide her in there with Fire and Adrenaline? That's a good honorable nod, yeah? So do you maybe go with her? But it definitely kind of feels like you got to counter with another veteran to Malia Hozoka with those 2 trainees in Exile. But hour 2, let's go there, man. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about hour 2 here. So hour 2 was interesting because as far as matches go and everything, we only had and according to my notes here, we had only got, it looks like 2 matches. That has to be wrong. That has to be wrong on so many levels here, because there's no way that it was 2 matches here. And so much so, I'm actually rewinding as we speak just to make sure that I didn't miss anything. But I know there was a lot of prepackaged roles that we had saw during the second hour. One of the video packages that we had saw during the second hour it had to do with Jeanie Buss being recognized for all of the contributions, and the other match is now coming back to me now. So there was actually 3 matches during hour 2. So the second match I'm thinking of, it's come back to me now. But there was a prepackaged role that we saw of Jeanie Buss being acknowledged and given her 15 minutes of respect for the contributions that she's made in helping take Wild Women of Wrestling to the next level by partnering up with David McLean and everything, going all in, being a co-owner and everything. And all of the women were surrounding the ring, Tessa Blanchard on the microphone, setting it up for the fans, having Jeanie Buss come down there to the ring and everything, David McLean leading the way, and just the heartfelt speech by Tessa that was given to Jeanie Buss on behalf of WoW, the promotion, just everybody, including David McLean, and her being presented with her own Women of Wrestling Heavyweight Championship belt. Just great moment, and you just panned out to some of the people that were around the ring, Lana Starr being one of them outside. I mean, crying, legit crying. There's a lot of tears in there in that. And, I think that's really awesome that we were able as fans to see that moment. And not for nothing. And it's not a shameless plug, so don't take it that way whatsoever. But, it definitely reminded me of the conversation that me and Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup had with WOW's David McClain. And if you guys did not check out that interview, it is available. It's available on demand and on the downloads. We also got it available on the YouTube channel. Check the guest exclusives playlist. And I remember when me and Mish had initially heard about this ceremony, if you will, that they were doing for Jeanie Buss, we were like, wow, and we didn't hear anything about it. Like, all the rounds of interviews that David McClain was giving in anticipation of the season 2 premiere of WOW, we didn't hear anything about, okay, so, what was that like? And so when we had our opportunity to sit down and talk with David McClain, of which, there were many wrestling news media outlets that picked up on the interview and ran with the highlights and everything. Definitely mad shout out to you guys, especially 401 Mania. Really, those guys have always been tremendous to us over the years for any coverage we send their way. And David McClain has shared with us some little tidbits behind the scenes stuff on everything that had got up to that point and everything. And so if you want a little bit of a backstory to what you had saw with this episode of WOW tonight, as far as what was up with that whole Jeanie Buss thing, definitely check it out when you guys get a chance. I'll at least make sure I post a link in the episode description or in the comment section so you guys can easily go back and check it out and everything. But that was really a nice, touching moment. You couldn't help but feel a little teary-eyed, a little emotional as you were seeing that whole thing play out and everything. And it's obvious that there's a lot of love there for Jeanie Buss and everything, and that's the one common theme that we heard throughout when speaking with David McClain and when speaking with Selena Majors, which was the addition of Jeanie Buss. Like, everything that is currently happening with WOW right now, it just would not exist. None of it would have been made possible without the contributions of Jeanie Buss and everything. So that was a great moment to see. We also got a video package / update on Eye Candy, and I wasn't even aware of this, not until I think maybe late last week or something like that. But we basically have found out that Eye Candy had dealt with a very serious neck injury and everything, and I did not know that, because sadly for me, some of these WOW wrestlers, I look at them and I go, oh, that's so and so, and I already know the other name that they're under and everything. And I remember with regards to Eye Candy, when I was trying to look her up last season, I wasn't able to come across, like, okay, so what's her actual name? Like, what's the actual popular in-ring name that everybody knows her as, so that I can try to follow her that way and everything. And I wasn't able to find anything. And it was like, damn, well, what's going on here? And so I was totally, last week, I was totally shocked when I had found out that all this time she had been dealing with a really bad neck injury and everything. And it was, honestly, I commend the people at WOW giving us the update on what was going on with her, because I didn't know. I did not know the severity. I knew it was an injury late last week, but I didn't know it was so severe that she has been sidelined for these past several months and everything. And so she has slowly been making her way to a full recovery and everything. And as they highlighted in the video package and everything for her, she said, as many of you guys probably know, especially those of you that are my fans, I wrestle a lot on the independents, and there was one match that I had, and she talked about the spot and what had went down and how she landed and everything. And she basically had talked about how she knew after she landed that okay, something funny here was going on and everything. And as far as the severity of it, she didn't really know until pretty much got to the hospital and They did the x-rays and, the MRIs and all of that jazz, and she finds out how bad it was. So it's been a slow process, a very slow road to recovery for her. And look, man, regardless of the wrestler, regardless of the promotion, we all can go with the whole AEW rocks or WWE rocks or NWA rocks or whatever. But I would like to believe that without a shadow of doubt, the one thing that we all can be in agreement of, put our differences to the side and be like, nah, man, that's not cool. We all can be in agreement that when a wrestler gets an injury, any type of injury, but an injury in which they're sidelined for months, like, hey, man, wouldn't want that on my worst enemy. Godspeed. Hope you're able to get back at 100%. Seriously, take your time. Do what you need to do. Don't worry about the wrestling. Don't worry about it. Just worry about being able to stand on your own 2 feet, being able to bend over the little things. Just worry about that. Us wrestling fans will be just fine. The hell with our entertainment. You just take care of you. So, definitely, I don't know where she is right now with her recovery. And look to you veteran wrestling fans that's out there, and you guys have a better grasp on, okay, well, no, this person is under this name on Twitter, here's their Instagram and all this other stuff. Like you all had came together and educated me a little bit on the Dixie Darlings, telling me how they were from Virginia and there really isn't that much of a bio. And I wish I could credit the person that gave me the info and everything, but if you guys want to maybe chime in and help us out a little further with the actual handle she's under of her more popular name, you can definitely get at us and let us know. But definitely speedy recovery. Like, she may already be at 100%. I don't know right now, right? Because we got to remember when we're seeing this, it's a couple of months pre-taped here. So for all we know, she could already be at 100%. We also had the debut of Teal Piper. This is somebody else that myself and Mish, we had an opportunity to interview, and it was great talking with her. She was just a bubble of energy. I enjoyed talking with her. I know Mish definitely had enjoyed talking with her, to the point Mish was bummed out because it never clicked in his head that Teal Piper had wrote the latest autobiography that came out about her dad, Roddy Piper. He didn't know that she and her brother had penned it, because had he known, he would have asked some questions about the book and everything. And I was like, damn, it's like, how we missed that one between the two of us and everything. But despite that, that was actually a good interview that we did with her and everything. And I remember one of the questions that we asked her was, okay, so you've got your in-ring debut coming up and everything, who's the opponent you're going to be facing? And at the time, Teal was like, you guys would like to know, wouldn't you? But I don't know. I honestly do not know. I couldn't tell you. And we're like thinking to ourselves, okay, well, maybe she's going to do some type of run in on somebody, and it's going to be like, oh, like maybe it's going to go down like that, right? But we got our answer finally. She made her debut. And one thing about her debut, and it wasn't an in-ring debut, mind you. One thing about her debut, I wish there would have been a little bit more suspense going into her popping up and everything. And what I mean by that is, at one point during I think it was during the Abilene Maverick taking on Steffi Slay's match, I want to say Steve Dickey just nonchalant, just Teal Piper debut tonight, and you're like, wait, what? And I wish that would have been built up just a little bit more, like to really give that moment to Teal Piper and everything. I wish particularly that after maybe the Abilene Maverick Steffi Slay's match was over, because I'm looking in the notes here. And as I'm looking at the other matches here, because it was only 3, but as I'm looking at the other matches, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was definitely during the Abilene Maverick. Actually, no. Let me back up a second. It was right before. It was right before Abilene Maverick taking on Steffi Slay. So it was sometime during Holliday taking on Princess Aussie, the nonchalant just, Teal Piper, debut tonight. Yeah, I kind of wish that after the match was over, David McClain and them would have said, hey, folks, you guys that remember WWE Hall of Famer, the living legend, Roddy Piper, you guys have probably heard the buzz. You maybe heard some of her interviews, but yes, folks, you heard it right. Teal Piper, she is here and wow. And man, can't wait to see what she's got cooking up, Steve. Yeah, that's right, David. I wish she would have kind of gotten like her time in the spotlight, kind of like that. Now, to their credit, just kind of play devil's advocate a little bit. There was a little bit of a little mini video package that they did and all that, kind of giving that nod, but I still didn't kind of quite like the way it was just nonchalant. You're listening to a match and just Teal Piper debut, and you're like, well, but Teal Piper, she had her segment, kind of like her dad. Her segment, it was called Teal Talks with Teal Piper. And man, she was so witty, the way she was talking to Steffi Slays. I freaking loved it. And Teal Piper was going in and she's like, so you're really going to celebrate over the fact that when you had defeated Abilene Maverick, she was sick? Or some jazz like that. And Steffi Slade's like, no, she was not sick. She was not sick whatsoever. I would know because I wrestled her and everything. She was not sick. And look, not for nothing, but, I am studying medicine and everything. So I am trying to get a medical degree. And I can tell you as an expert here, she wasn't sick whatsoever. And Teal Piper is just, I mean, certain mannerisms as you're watching her during this Teal Talk segment, you are just reminded of her dad. And I don't mean that just to say that. There was legit similar mannerisms, certain swag, certain facial expressions, the little things, the way that she was looking at the camera, like not even a cute thing, just says what she needs to say, come in with the wit, waits for the response, kind of looking at the camera, playing up to the camera, and then going back. It was nice how she executed it. I loved it on so many levels. And even calling Steffi Slays a goody good two shoes. I love that. And irritating Steffi Slays so much that Steffi Slays becomes uncomfortable and is like, I don't really want to freaking... and I've got, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'll say L.E. L.E. is saying it was the disciplinarian Steffi had defeated. Okay, all right, well, if that was the case, my mistake. But no, getting back on track, there was I got a brain fart after that. But no, the certain mannerisms that Teal Piper was given and everything, that shit was badass. I like that tremendously. And yeah, you had Steffi Slays. She was just feeling so irritated, being so verbally combative. She broke down to the point where she tells Teal Piper the interview is over. Like, if you don't really have any questions. And I loved all of that. I ate that shit up. That was freaking hilarious. Enjoyed that. And I mean, look, not for nothing, but we've seen since last season on Access TV, Abilene Maverick and Steffi Slays, this is something that has just, and I got to give the writing team of WOW a lot of credit for the way that they have just continued to take us on this journey between these two girls and their rivalry and everything, and kind of following up on what I had said last week, which was these two girls at some point, hopefully before the season is out, Steffi Slays has to lock it up with Abilene Maverick, one-on-one, no distractions. I think I said that as early as last week's show, right? Thinking that we were still about 2-3 episodes out before the finale. Actually, a long ways off before the finale, because it's interesting too, because, and I think I know what ended up happening. When we were talking with David McClain had said to us that there was 24 episodes that were basically in the can, right? And so, what we should have did with one of us, between me and Mish, what we should have did was ask, how is that going to be, like, taken care of? Like, what's the order in which we're going to be seeing it on Access TV? Was it going to be just one continuous season of the 24 episodes, or were they going to split it up? And I'm not really sure how much he would have been able to disclose at that time, but I do remember him saying 24 episode season, right? And I also remember during that interview, he said, you know, we didn't even air yet and we already got renewed for another season. And so, you know, maybe that kind of answered our question right then and there, but there should have been a follow-up when we were given all that information. But yeah, the way things pretty much had ended with Steffi Slays, Abilene Maverick. I mean, if you've been paying attention to this program, oh shit, Jonathan, not yet, man. Jonathan, not yet. I got to delete that, man. Sorry. We haven't got to that point yet, Jonathan. Please don't spoil yet. Don't spoil yet. God, I hate when people spoil before we get to it. We'll talk about it. Hold your horses, because we only got one more match to talk about. Come on, chill, hang out. We'll talk about it. But if you followed WoW last season and this season, you knew that going into whenever Abilene Maverick and Steffi Slays was going to collide, that, come on, like, no more distractions, like, no more alliances. Abilene Maverick, as I said on last week's show, now she's out there, right? She's not buddied up with anybody. If you're gonna extract revenge, like, now is the time to get it one-on-one and everything. So this matchup between Abilene Maverick and Steffi Slays, I enjoyed. I enjoyed just from the standpoint of, I'm a sucker for those old school story arcs where the heel just keeps getting the one up every single time you turn around on the babyface, and the babyface comes this freaking close to getting their hands on that heel, right? And no cigar. And finally, Abilene Maverick extracting revenge on this one. This was a damn good matchup too. I actually had enjoyed this. I wish I could give all of these matches, you know, the honorable mentions, but I can only go but so much as far as giving you my top 3 here. But now that Steffi Slays has this in the books, like, what's next for Steffi, right? I mean, you would like to believe, as far as this feud goes, that's it. It's over and done with. We're on the bigger, greener pastures, right? But what's next for Steffi Slays? Is now Steffi Slays maybe going to kind of rekindle and have a bit of a new commitment? Gino, what's up, Gino? Appreciate the super chat, buddy. What's going to happen with Steffi Slays now? Is she now going to get back with Keita Rush and say, hey, look, not for nothing, I know we have formed this tag team of the Bully Busters, and I've been a bit distracted because of what was going on with Abilene Maverick, but now that I finally extracted revenge, you know, and I'm okay here, like 100%, I'm fully committed to you and me. And if you want to go for the tag titles, I say, girl, let's go ahead, let's hook up, let's do this. But I am there with you all the way, 100% focused, right? I mean, if that's the next story arc for Steffi Slays, I'm actually okay with that. And naturally, it makes all the sense in the world, right? I'm hoping that's the direction that we're going to be seeing, because it makes all the sense in the world, right? Now, if you come back to me season 3 and you're like, nah, Steffi Slays is trying to maybe go for a championship run, I would say, well, that should be a fun journey to see. But I'm leaning a little bit more towards what I just said. Hey, can we maybe see the Bully Busters in a program against Jesse Jones and Amber O'Neal? I mean, could that maybe be on the horizon too? There's a couple of different things there, and you already know that Jesse Jones, Amber O'Neal, they kind of already got their hands full with the Dixie Darlings there, right? So there's a couple of different directions you could be going in now. And I like the idea of a Teal Piper feud. I mean, look, we asked Teal Piper who are the girls that she would like to feud with, and she told us, and definitely Tessa Blanchard was at the top of her list. And I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm going to be very real with you guys. And I got to give Teal Piper a lot of credit, because when she was speaking to us, she candidly said, look, you know, not for nothing, you know, and she was nice in the way that she had dressed it up and everything. But when you really read in between the lines and everything, she knows right now that as far as pro wrestling goes, her window of opportunity is pretty small. And I'll expand upon that. I'll touch upon what she did not touch upon, which is this window of opportunity that she has in the world of pro wrestling right now. It is very, very, very small, right? And if she can deliver, as what we saw with her Teal Talks segments here, right? This first one of many to come. The girl's got her dad's gift of the jab, right? Gift of the mouth, right? Gift of the gab, whatever that phrasing is, right? She's got that. As far as the in-ring ability, I think my best advice I can give to anybody right now, do not be premature. And, on paper that might sound good, but you got to ask yourself, are you going based off what her dad was able to do and what her brother is able to do? Because if you're going to use that as the measuring stick, then I would say to you as fans, that's a bit unfair, right? I think we need to look at what Teal Piper is able to do in baby steps, small installments. And I mean, look, not for nothing. Go back and look at what she had did at AEW's All Out, that Casino Royale. Even though she was in there very briefly, you could still see a bit of the greenness. And when we were speaking with her, she told us that one of the main reasons why she hooked up with WOW is because the training, how close it is to her respected residents and everything, because she wasn't interested in relocating her entire life. Because we even asked her, like, how come you went to WOW and maybe didn't consider OVW, or you didn't consider NXT and, go down to their performance center maybe and all that other stuff. Check out the interview. You'll thank me later. But baby steps is what I have to say. The gift of talking is there. It's definitely there. And that combined with her acting career and then singing, I mean, as far as that bravado, that stage presence goes and everything, she's got that. But the in-ring ability, it depends on how dedicated she stays to it, right? Anything is possible as long as you're willing to continue to go in there, put in the time, put in the work and everything. Holliday had took on Princess Aussie. This was a great matchup. This was actually your opener. I don't have anything more to add about Abilene Maverick taking on Steffi Slays. Not unless there's something you guys want me to kind of go into a little bit more, but we pretty much said all we needed to say about that matchup. But Holliday taking on Princess Aussie, that was your first matchup. And this was interesting because Holliday had some choice words to say leading up to this match. Or actually, no. Her homegirl, Voodoo Dow, had like a prepackaged thing that was set up for Holliday taking on Princess Aussie and everything. And Voodoo Dow's whole message was basically, now we're going to see your true colors. Like, it was basically like, now we're going to see, what you're really capable of as your first task, your first adversary. Something very, very cryptic. She was doing her thing with the tarot cards and all that. And I tell you what, man, I love me some Voodoo and I love me some Holliday. I do. They are my two personal favorites. But the one thing that I continue to wonder as I'm looking at these two, it is, what exactly is the connection? Why is Holliday continuing to work with Voodoo Dow? Like what is going on? Because we've heard Voodoo do all the talking, but we have not heard Holliday really speak her piece, right? And that's what makes it so mysterious and so interesting with regards to their alliance and everything. But Holliday taking on Princess Aussie, I like this matchup. There were some instances where I saw Princess Aussie going in there and doing a grapple, doing a leg takedown, and I'm going, man, nah, Holliday got some thickness on her. Look at them damn calves. I'm like, one of her legs is like the size of 3 arms combined of freaking, right? You're looking at Princess Aussie and you're going, wait, you're trying to hook them legs? It's like, no, you can't hook them legs with just one arm. You got to go in with 2, baby. You got to go in for 2. Like, seriously, get a big old 2 hands to them damn legs. Go ahead. But like certain points of this matchup, you're looking at Princess Aussie and you're like, she looks outmatched here. But just when you were kind of looking and going, it kind of feels a little questionable, the style of the wrestling here, the way it's being choreographed. They cleaned it up. Some spots that kind of looked a little questionable, they did a really good job in really cleaning it up, I felt. Because just when you were looking at them sizing up each other, you're going, damn, Holliday is huge. You just go back and watch. It's like, even though she's not muscular in any type of way, it's like you're looking at the shoulders, you're kind of looking at her arms, you're looking at her thighs, you're looking at her calves, and you're like, this girl is thick as hell. It's like, this girl's a beast, right? Just is crazy. Closing moments of this matchup, we saw Aussie and Holliday. They were fighting on the top rope and everything. Looked like Holliday was maybe trying to go for a superplex, and Aussie was doing her best to fight it off and everything. Aussie coming out on top, connecting with a knee to the face of Holliday, pretty much sent her crashing back first to the canvas. From there, Aussie does a frog splash, and you would have thought that maybe this was going to be a frog splash with pin, but it was just a frog splash, right? And so just when it kind of looked as though after Aussie was kind of recovering from the frog splash, looked like maybe she was getting ready to go in for the cover or whatever, we see the Psycho Sisters. They did the beatdown on Aussie. Pretty much this threw the match out, right? So you got a bit of a handicap that's going on here. Looked as though Voodoo was going to leave Aussie hanging once again as she collected Holliday, and kind of looked as though maybe they were getting ready to retreat, but they actually went in there, helped Aussie once again, and all these girls were just getting it on right there, just all 6 of them throwing it down. So, once again, you can't help but kind of wonder here, what is going on with this weird alliance? Because this is, of all the things happening in WoW right now, this is the most intriguing. It really is. And still, you go back to, why wasn't the trigger pulled storyline wise by Voodoo and Holliday on having Aussie, whatever mental games, voodoo magic, whatever you want to call it, why wasn't the trigger pulled to use that ace in the hole to get her to try to help them secure those tag titles? Kind of weird, man. Kind of weird how all of that was playing down, basically. All right, we got one more match to talk about. And for those of you that, you're checking out the stream, if you didn't see the comments, you're good. We got one more match to talk about. Let's not tease you guys anymore. All right, Beast taking on Tessa Blanchard for the WoW Women's Championship. This was the match. I'm watching this as the anticipation builds, and I was saying to my girl, Beast ain't no joke, man. Beast is like freaking Goldberg, man. All you need is security banging on that door. It's time. Cue that Goldberg music and just watch Beast come on out there, do her thing and everything. You're going into this match and you're wondering, so what's the story we're going to be telling in the ring here? Because after the phenomenal matchup that Tessa Blanchard had against Jungle Girl for the title, and now Beast is the clear-cut #1 contender here. No more jumping through ropes. No more Sophia Lopez coming to the aid. None of that. This is it. Like how are things going to pan out here? Is Lana Starr possibly going to play a factor with Faith the Lioness once again? What exactly is going to happen? How is this going to play out? This was a straight up one-on-one matchup. There was no stipulations added. And when I say stipulations, there was no, if anybody comes down the ring side, nothing like that, right? This was a straight up one-on-one matchup for the WoW Championship. So your match begins. Beast is having her way with Tessa Blanchard. I mean, swinging her left and right by the hair, just ragged out, just having her way, doing a nice, pose down, using her upper strength, doing nice little suplexes and all that. You're going, man, this match is probably going to be over in like no time. It's got a Goldberg vibe to it, right? I'm talking about WCW Goldberg too, by the way. I'm talking about that devastating freaking Goldberg, right? One that made the headlines. You're going, does a freaking, I'm trying to think, what was the move that she did? She does a power slam, sit down power slam. You're going, oh, well, this got to be it. You know, this got to be it. It's over. Tessa kicks out. You're going, okay, all right, Tessa's got some fight. Okay, this is good. I'm liking this. I'm liking this because I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, we're not making it be that easy for the Beast. That's fine. Okay, if we're going to pull the trigger and we're going to make Beast the champion, that's fine. All right, like, make her work for it is my whole thing. Make her work for it. So, you know, they keep at it. They continue. You see another spot where the Beast picks up Tessa Blanchard. Looks like she's going for another, who knows what it is, but it's definitely a devastating, you know, strength of power maneuver that she's getting ready to do. And Tessa Blanchard wiggles her way out of that and starts chopping at the Beast's legs. You're going, okay, liking this psychology, right? That's how you bring down the Beast, right? Focus on those legs, right? Take the legs away from her. I'm liking that. I'm liking that. Gino with the $10 super chat. We appreciate that, Gino. See, Gino, and everybody see, when you do the super chat, you know, the $2 super chat or $1 super chat, you do anything past $2, you're going to get the super chat, right? Kind of do that Tony Chimmel thing for you guys. So, you know, you're looking at the psychology of this one and you're going, now this is the shit. This is how Tessa Blanchard, okay, if this is the story you're going to tell on Tessa Blanchard here, right? Okay, she's met her match, but now she's using her wits. She's using her speed to her advantage here, right? Okay, and I like that psychology. She's just homing in on the legs because she knows, storyline, I take down these legs, there goes her power. Because all her power is in her upper body, right? She relies on those power slams, jackhammers, power bombs, sit-down power bomb variations, jackknife power bombs, whatever power bomb. She likes picking up people, damn it. Okay, well, take away the legs. She ain't going to be able to do that because she's going to be wobbly as hell, right? And we see Tessa, she's on the offense for a little bit. And you're going, okay, all right, this is good. Seemed like a couple of points there. Tessa Blanchard maybe had this in the books, but freaking Beast is just continuing to stay at it and everything. And if I'm looking a little bit distracted, I'm actually seeing the encore right now as we speak. That's on. It looks like they're replaying the first hour all over again here. And yeah, so, you know, the match continued. The match was about maybe 10 minutes long. Give or take. Kind of felt a little less than that. Kind of felt like maybe the match was about 7 minutes. But I definitely remember kind of going towards the closing moments of the matchup. We had Tessa Blanchard. I think maybe she was looking for her trademark, DDT that she likes to do. Underlock DDT, whatever she's calling it. I know it's a DDT move. And then Beast, if I remember it right, she came in with the spear and had pinned Tessa Blanchard, the 1, the 2, the 3. I'll let you know in a hot second because I'm actually fast forwarding right now to see the final moments of that matchup. We're at about the 20-minute mark right now as I'm fast forwarding. I got Verizon Fire, so I can actually see it because I got the 8 times fast forward speed. So I'll see it in a hot second. But yeah, man, Beast is your new Women of Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, look, man, from the moment that I had laid eyes on the Beast during the first season, I said, Young, man, this is the person you want to put the title on. This is the one. You know, if one of the main reasons why you were able to form this partnership with Tessa Blanchard and everything, one, to help put a bigger target on Women of Wrestling, right? To help better brand and everything, that's cool, right? But if the other reason why you decided to do business with Tessa Blanchard is because, hey, as far as elevating our own respected, you know, up and coming talents here in WoW and everything, we want to try to do our best to, you know, elevate someone the likes of, then I would say with regards to the Beast, she is somebody that you definitely, yeah, okay. And not for nothing, but the great match that Beast had with Jungle Girl, that was awesome. That was awesome. The match that Beast had with Faith the Lioness, right? Now, I got a bone to pick with that still because I didn't like that it was essentially a squash match. I wish it would have lasted a little longer or whatever, but, it is what it is. But, yeah, I'm looking at it right now in the closing moments of this matchup. You had B, she was down on the ground. Tessa Blanchard tried to look for maybe a double axle off of the top turnbuckle, but Beast caught her and basically did a back suplex. It was like a modified version. Tried to go in for the cover, and that was only a near fall. Match pretty much had continued after that. Now I will admit there was a couple of times where Beast kind of looked a little bit shaky, so to speak. It kind of looked as though, I don't know if it was by design or if maybe some of the spots where Beast was using some of her upper strength to pick up Tessa, if maybe she didn't have enough grounding, enough footing, because it looked a little wobbly at some spots, and I was legitimately concerned for Tessa. I'm going, please, man, hope nothing bad happens here, right? Hope nothing bad happens. But Tessa takes a couple of forearm strikes to the face, and then, she tried to look for her hammerlock DDT, but Beast sends Tessa flying into the ropes, hits her with a spinning power bomb. Was it? Actually, I'm looking at it again here in slow motion here. Sends her into the ropes here. Tessa Blanchard, she does. See here. Yeah, forearm strike. Looks for the hammerlock DDT. Pushes her. And then basically picks her up. Power bombs the hell out of her. 1, 2, 3. And you got your new world champion, the Beast. So, you already know, dogs, that Tessa Blanchard ain't going to be taking that down lightly. Storyline-wise, Tessa Blanchard's going to try to get a rematch at that bad boy. But, yeah, that was I got to give WoW a lot of credit for what we've been seeing of the Beast these past 2 seasons. I mean, you want to talk about smart booking, just the way they've just continued to just elevate her and everything, putting her in key matchups and everything. They did a phenomenal job with her. A phenomenal freaking job. And that's how you book. That is how you freaking book. That is how you tell a story and everything. And I mean, you can't help but wonder now what's going to be next for the Beast. I mean, you would like to believe that with a girl like Sophia Lopez and some of the talents that are under her enterprise or whatever you want to call it, right? You got Serpentine. You've got frickin' aka Cobra Moon. You got frickin' Lana Star. You got Faith the Lioness, right? I still like the idea of, and I said Faith the Lioness, didn't I? Faith the Lioness is actually with Lana Star, but that would be interesting if Faith the Lioness actually defected over to Sophia Lopez, right? It's kind of something to look out for, right? But you're looking at what's going on with Beast and wondering seriously, like, what challenges is going to be on the horizon. You're just kind of looking into the crystal ball a little bit. I just kind of really feel as though Sophia Lopez is going to be a serious thorn in the Beast. That's personally how I'm looking at things going down. And then, not for nothing, but we never did really truly find out the extent of the relationship between Tessa Blanchard and Sophia Lopez. Is there going to be some type of ramifications of that? Because remember, there was a couple of seasons ago where a briefcase was given to Tessa Blanchard by Sophia Lopez. All right, so there was some type of a arrangement, but we never did really truly find out, okay, so what is the arrangement? It never was given to us by Steve Dickey and McLean, black and white verbally, this is what's going on. We never did see that Tessa Blanchard, Sophia Lopez face to face, throw it down, hey, what the hell? Hey, you gave me this money and, hey, you said it was going to be easy. So you can't help but wonder if possibly the next story arc is going to be Tessa Blanchard maybe getting in the face of Sophia Lopez and saying, hey, what the hell? You gave me this money and, da 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 da. And, I'm kind of wondering what's going on with that. So we won't really know until, we see how that plays out. But aside from Sophia Lopez, you would also like to believe that someone like I will actually go with Havoc. Havoc is maybe going to cause some type of a disruption. Because remember, not for nothing, but at one point, Havoc was trying to focus hard on the World Heavyweight Championship. Her and Hazard kept interfering and all that, right? And so looking at really good potential matchups and everything, that's another one that you could definitely go into and everything. I wouldn't mind seeing the Beast lock it up with the Psycho Sisters too. I know you got the story arc there involving Voodoo and Holliday and everything and Princess Aussie, but that would kind of also be, you know, why just focus on one? Do multiple. You can juggle them and everything, right? To a certain degree, if you wanted to, you can even have Exile get involved in the Beast's business as well. So there is a lot of interesting things that you can do with the Beast that's going to make things very, very interesting when they get ready to pop up for their next season of WoW, without a shadow of doubt. And hey, before we get ready to wrap it up here, I do have some kind words I want to say about WoW as we wrap up. And but first, I do want to recognize some of our Patreon members, and I also want to give a shout out one more time to some of the sponsors that we were able to hook up with for this edition of the RCWR show. First off, I want to shout out our Patreon members, patreon.com/RCWR show. Be on there, $5 a month. You get access to bonus audio, video content, great majority you won't be able to find anywhere else. And it's not a pay per content. That's not the way we have our Patreon page set up, right? So say for instance, for this month of November, like right now we have, and typically we put out about, I would say about 6 to 8 pieces of content. It's a combination of audio, video, mostly audio, right? And it's new content. Basically that $5 a month that you pay, you get access to all of those shows. So I spoke candidly for the very first time since the Jim Cornette ordeal went down with the NWA. I gave you guys the facts on the RCWR show this week, but as far as offering my 2 cents from a distance on just the whole fiasco, I talked about it for the very first time and only with our Patreon members. You also get access to our Wrestling with the Topic series hosted by me and the missus, where we go a little bit all over the place, not just wrestling, but we go a little bit all over the place. We got the 30 with Lee series reviewing movies, TV shows, great stuff. Patreon.com/RCWR show. You know, we got a nice growing community that's over. It's a tight knit community as well. Really feels like a nice intimate family. And what's really cool about that family is if we all have disagreements, we know how to have a civil conversation about it, you know, which I wish in the real world it can really be like that for everybody. But yeah, these times, different story, different time, different show. But shout out to Patreon members, Anthony Missionary Thomas, my amigo of Wrestling Soup. Shout out to you, buddy. Shout out to Joe Raymond Jr. Shout out to John Krauser, who's got his Brain Freak live show. Is coming back in December. I'll have some more information on the website, ticket info and all that next go round. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Shout out to Justin Rustock. Shout out to Sean Kenter. Shout out to Tony Bing Gaming. If you guys love all things Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Marvel Strike Force, the upcoming MOBA game, Marvel Super Wars, Tony Bing Gaming, news, tips, tricks, walkthroughs, reviews, whole 9 yards. Great YouTube channel. Check him out. And he's got a Patreon wall as well. Shout out to Joe Raymond Jr. Who else we got? I think I already mentioned Michael Wolf. I think I already mentioned John Davis. I don't think I'm forgetting any. Freddie! Can't believe I almost forgot about Freddie. How can I forget about Freddie? Freddie, I love you, my brother. Hope you've been okay, man. And it was nice hanging out with you for our Painting with Lee series as well. If you guys missed it, we did a second episode of Painting with Lee. I was just hanging around, shooting the shit for like almost 3 hours, continuing to paint Bray Wyatt. So if you missed the first 2 episodes, you can go back. It's on the YouTube channel. You can check it out. That was awesome. But shout out to all of you guys. You guys rock. Love you guys. You know, you hear these names, it sounds redundant. These guys make content like what you're checking out right now. Anytime something is related to show expenses, show equipment, you name it, these guys always represent. And they are essentially our producers for content like what you're checking out and all the other free-for-all shows that you guys get on a weekly basis. I also want to recognize some of our sponsors. Shout out to the good kind folks behind leafyassets.com. If you are an entrepreneur or if you are a real estate investor, these guys over at leafyassets.com can help make sure that your business is off on the right foot and everything is clicking on all cylinders. Check them out, leafyassets.com. Their ultimate goal is to help make sure that your respected business, money-wise, it's growing, right? You're staying cash flow positive. That's what it's all about for them. Also, shout out to the good kind folks behind the movie President Evil. 3 girls during the November midterm elections are stalked by a deranged killer dressed as the President of the United States of America. Oh me, oh my, good almighty. Check out the trailer and buy the movie on Amazon.com. If you guys love satire, comedy, dark humor, that's definitely up your alley then. Also, shout out to the good kind people over at, we got a couple of new sponsors, but there's one in particular I want to home in on here. And the one I want to home in on, this holiday season, we got pets, right? Who doesn't have a pet, right? Yeah, rare you come across people that don't have a pet, but everybody is shopping this holiday season. They're keeping their loved ones in mind. Make sure you're also keeping in mind that furry little friend of yours. I'm talking specifically to you dog lovers out there. I want for you guys, look, if you don't have a pet, but you know somebody that has a pet, have them check this out because this is free what I'm offering here. And this is exclusive for our RCWR show listeners because I have a unique URL for you guys. If you have a pet, a dog in this case, you know somebody that has a dog, have them check out petfoodio.com. You spell that PETFOODIO, petfoodio.com/RCWR show. Now, that unique URL, check this out. This bad boy gets you access to a free doggy desserts cookbook. You heard me right, a free doggy desserts cookbook. It comes with a total of 10 to 12 recipes of all kinds of cool little treats that you can make for your dog right in the comfort of your own home. You probably already have the ingredients already there, just don't know about it. And these are treats that you and your dog will enjoy. You will enjoy making it because you're making it for your furry friend, your best friend with love. And they will love it because, my God, you're making it for them. And it's something freaking awesome and delicious, right? But check it out, petfoodio.com/RCWR show. It's a free copy of Pet Foodio's cookbook, Doggy Desserts. And it comes with about 10 to 12 dog treat recipes, colorful pictures, easy to follow instructions. There's no excuse. It's very rare we come on here and we say, guys, we're giving you stuff for free. So please check this out. And I actually have the link going live in the chat there. So check that out. Again, if it doesn't apply to you, no problem. Pass it along to somebody that is a dog lover, a dog owner, right? Pass it along to them. Also, I want to give a serious shout out here to those of you that may be battling with depression. As the holidays draw upon us, I know not everybody isn't as blessed. I think that's the best terminology we can use in everything. And if you are in a position where you are feeling a bit down on your luck and maybe you're kind of thinking suicidal. I don't know. Maybe you're in a really dark place right now and it just seems like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. My good friend in Jeanie Martinez, she has a book that can help you out. It is called 52 Reasons to Live, Why Greatness Refuses to Die. And again, it is by Jeanie Martinez. It is a weekly dose of encouragement, helping you out whether you're feeling sad, stressed out, anxious about certain things, overwhelmed by certain issues that's happening in your life. The book is full of encouragement and it's helping you face these difficult tasks that's going on in your life. helping you build up the courage, grow in hopes of building towards positive energy, being a better version of yourself on a day-to-day, and then stringing it together on a week-to-week basis, and then boom, it turns into a yearly type of deal. You can pick up your copy on Amazon today, or you can visit the website over at aspireandreachformore.com, where you can check out that book, 52 Reasons to Live, Why Greatness Refuses to Die, by Jessie Martinez, and you can check out the other books that she's written. And please make note that Jessie Martinez is a licensed professional counselor, writing books basically to help people with their lives and live successfully. So, and for those of you that maybe need some help a little bit outside of books, she definitely can help steer you in the right direction as well, for those of you that potentially may need some counseling or whatnot. But yes, on a serious note, please, take advantage of that. If you know somebody, make sure you pass that information along to them as well. We appreciate all of these sponsors and Patreon members. These guys, they mean so much. It's an honor to be able to work with these people on a weekly basis, because I remember a time when I was doing these shows and there would be people, as far as potential advertisers go, that would frown upon shows that just happen to talk about wrestling and everything. And it's really been nice that over the years we've had advertisers that have been more and more receptive to shows that are covering wrestling. And it's great to be in a position where these days I have advertisers that are coming to me because they've heard about my voiceover work. They've gotten the results that they've needed, and they've told their friends. So it's nice when we're able to get people that want to work with us and, try to offer you listeners something. It's a little something for everybody. I always try to think about you guys in a way where, we try to give you guys a little bit of something for everybody, no matter what it is. In closing, let me just say, with regards to this season of WoW, this was a really fantastic season. And I don't mean that. I sincerely mean that from the heart. I said this off and on this season, and it's been a recurring theme when I've done these WoW recaps, which is, no matter what's going on during the work week, when the Saturdays roll around, this is the one show in WoW Women of Wrestling that I am legitimately excited about. I have a lot of energy for, because the energy in the storytelling, the fine attention to detail in the storytelling, the matches, from the way that the matches are booked to the lighting, everything from the production standpoint right down to the color commentating. Understanding who is the heel, who is the face, that all of that is so well defined. Everything is just this well-oiled, perfect machine that runs extremely well. And just when you think that maybe, just maybe, okay, well, surely after 3 episodes or 4 episodes, I'm going to get this one episode where I'm going to go, it was average, it was so-so, it was all right, it wasn't as good as last week, nothing special. That hasn't been the case. That wasn't the case when I began talking about WoW last season. That hasn't been the case since I've been talking about this second season. And my hat's off to David McLean, to Jeanie Buss, to Selena Majors, to all the female talents that has entertained us last season and this season, to everybody from the production team, everybody involved in making this promotion so awesome, and the content, the hours in the programming that they've been able to give us fans every single week. I just want to extend a heartfelt thank you, because as far as quality goes, and I'm spending this extra amount of time saying this because I know we have listeners that either don't watch a show like Women of Wrestling, and they're more interested in what I have to say. They're just representing because they see I'm on, and maybe you're lonely, right? And I'm not knocking that. Maybe you're lonely, and I'm kind of like a warm set of I'm like a warm coffee, or I'm a warm glass of milk for you, right? Because I'm feeling kind of down. Let me see what Lee's talking about. Or, oh, Lee's live. Let me just, I really, really, the biggest joy I get from doing these WoW recap shows is hearing from people. Lee, I watched WoW for the first time. Dog, I loved it. Oh, it was enjoyable. And, oh, it was great, man. I love so-and-so. For me, that's the biggest compliment I can get out of anything else. If there's one thing I love, is that people go out of their way and they check out this product. And I really, really hope, and what I would really, really like is for more people to get behind WoW. There's really no excuse. Everybody's got Access TV. And if you're working Saturday nights or you're out with friends or whatever, you can easily set your DVR. The shows repeat itself 2, 3, 4 times going into Sunday. There's no excuse. If you love all things pro wrestling and you are a fan of women's wrestling, serious women's wrestling, you can't go wrong with a product like WoW Women of Wrestling. You just can't, especially if you are a single parent or you're a parent. Or a guardian, and you have a daughter. This is such a great bonding experience. Watching a show like WoW, I'm reminded of how it was for me when I was growing up as a kid in the 80s. And I'm not going to do a long drawn out story, but I've been walking on God's green earth now for almost 40 years. I'll be turning 39 next month. And I can remember being a little kid in the 80s, Friday night, going over to my grandmother's house because my parents would drop me off at my grandmother's house for the weekend. And I wouldn't see them again until Sunday afternoon, almost late Sunday evening, basically. Enough for time for dinner, basically. And one of the greatest highlights that I enjoyed was watching pro wrestling with my grandmother Brenda. And this was in Chicago, south side, rough side of Chicago. And Grandma Brenda would wake me up early in the morning to watch all the cartoons, watch the Voltron, watch the Alvin and the Chipmunks, watch Spider-Man and his amazing friends, watching all Superman, all that good stuff. And for me, the biggest highlight of all was around 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I got to watch pro wrestling, right? And I remember that feeling that I had when I was watching what I was watching from pro wrestling. In this case, it would be WWF and everything. And it's funny because there was a tweet that I had reacted to earlier today where I had shared my thoughts on an iconic moment that happened 28 years ago today, where Macho Man Randy Savage was bitten by Jake the Snake Roberts' snake. And you just hear Vince McMahon saying, "I hope that snake is not venomous. I do hope that snake is not venomous." And the snake is just gnawing at that left arm of Macho Man. And Miss Elizabeth comes running down and she's screaming and everything. And I reacted to that. I said, it was moments like that as a little kid that got me into the pro wrestling. And it's like, I remember screaming and crying for Macho Man because I didn't like seeing him be hurt because he's actually one of my favorites and everything. I despise Jake Roberts, and I had said those guys did their job perfectly well with that feud that they had. And I just remember the feeling that I had. That's how I feel when I watch WoW Women of Wrestling. I feel like that little kid again that is so excited, clapping, and can't wait to get in front of the television and watch these colorful, vibrant characters. All of these characters I'm behind who, oh my God, newsflash, they all are fucking women and they're kicking ass, right? And they're these colorful, eccentric characters, right? All different shapes and sizes and cool backgrounds and all of this. And I'm like that little kid again that's, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old again. It's awesome. So, I really hope that more people, rather than listen to me and do a recap, yeah, I appreciate the recaps, I do. But if you're not watching the show, that's the main point that I'm making. If you're not watching the show, rather than continue to just, oh, I'm kind of bored. Let me see what Leah's doing. It's like, I really, really implore people to, this is something you could definitely get behind. You know, this is something you can get behind. This is something that you and your friends can get behind. This is something that the family can get behind. And right down to the point, I really wish that more wrestling websites would be getting behind this promotion and would be covering them a lot more, as opposed to the other typical stuff, you know. And I really, really hope that in due time it does happen. It does happen. I think what's kind of hindering WoW, and I think even David McLean and crew would maybe even, you know, attest to this a little bit, you know, which is I think the one thing that's maybe kind of, I won't say hurt, because it's helping that they're being so intimate as it is right now. But I think one of the reasons why that so many wrestling websites and all that almost practically turn a blind eye to a promotion like WoW is because, oh, well, it's just a small little thing. You know, it's on TV once a week, and it's just a bunch of women, you know, whatever. Hey, New Japan, and you know, everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid of these other promotions, and meanwhile, quietly, almost going unnoticed, except for the select few that are watching this product, we're noticing what they're doing. We're noticing the consistency and the quality in what they're doing. You talk about a hell of a streak and what they've been doing these past couple of years. Just chipping away. And it's practically going unnoticed, except for those of us that continue to support the product. So that's the biggest thing that I want to happen in 2020 for WoW, is I really hope that more and more people can take the time out and get behind this. You know, if you got a hectic schedule, it's okay. Just set your DVR. Next time you get a free day off from work or whatever, you know, just sit down, have an open mind, watch. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You'll see what everybody else has been talking about. Truly an honor to cover this season of WoW Women of Wrestling. This season was much stronger than last season, and I can't wait for 2020. And on that note, that concludes a great one that we've had all these Saturdays covering WoW Women of Wrestling. Great honor. I look forward to doing this again in 2020. But we're on a break now from WoW. So once again, with regards to NXT TakeOver War Games, sorry, but when it comes to our TakeOver coverages, that all goes to our Patreon members. However, we do have the WWE Survivor Series pay-per-view event that's going to be happening this Sunday, November 24th. I will be live, and we'll be live all over the place. We will be live on the YouTube, Spreaker, RCWR Show app, available in the Google Play Store, all over the place. I think we're even going to try to see if we can sync in Facebook as well. I will be live as soon as that wraps up. And then programming notes, I will be back live a couple of hours after that Survivor Series post show with a special webcast edition of the RCWR show, reviewing the Broken Skull Ranch sessions. Isn't Undertaker supposed to be doing his thing with Stone Cold after Survivor Series? So I will be back live as soon as that show. Well, I think the way it's going to go down, at the time we're going to be doing the Survivor Series recap, that Undertaker Stone Cold will already be going on. So basically, once I'm done with the Survivor Series recap, I'll be watching that, and then as soon as I'm done watching it, I'll be coming right back to do a immediate recap and review for that for you guys. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords the RCWR show. Sign up for our Discord as well so you can stay connected, because 2020 is right around the corner, and some of our shows are going to be exclusive to our Discord family only. And Discord is free for everybody to join. We'll also have some shows where you'll be able to call in, interact with me, and all that good stuff. It's good shit, man. But that is going to do it for now. Thank you to everybody that had checked out the live webcast here and was interacting in the chat. Gino, once again, appreciate the super chats, my friend. The super chats, appreciate that. And everybody else, you know, that's checking this out on demand and on the downloads, much love as always. I will see you guys on Sunday and Monday for your WWE fix. And for you WoW wrestling fans, I'll see you guys in 2020. Be safe, be kind to one another. Y'all take care.